Throughout history, humanity has feared one thing more than death itself: pain. But apparently, our ancestors also feared not making pain worse. Because for thousands of years, suffering wasn't just a symptom. It was the treatment plan. Tonight, we dive into the medical archives, aka the place where common sense went to die, and explore the most painful, ridiculous, and nightmare-inducing treatments humans ever invented. Treatments so shocking. You'll want to hug your modern doctor, even the one who gives bad prescriptions. Welcome to Insane World, where the past hurts. Literally. 1. Trepanation. DIY brain ventilation. We start with one of the oldest surgeries in human history. Trepanation, or as ancient healers probably called it, let's poke a hole in Steve's head and hope for the best. But how did they do it? Step 1. Scalp removal. The painful opening act.
Doctor, I have pain in my head.
There might be evil spirits sitting in your head.
Boo! Please help me, doctor.
Your healer takes a sharp stone and slices open your scalp, because apparently they didn't believe in warming up the crowd. Blood everywhere, screaming, possibly fainting, basically a rock concert. But without the music. They peel your scalp back like they're opening a bag of chips, exposing your skull. And congratulations.
Did you see evil spirit, doctor?
Well, I have to make a hole in your head to see that.
Oh, no!
That was the easy part. Step 2. The skull-grinding ASMR nobody asked for. Now, depending on the culture, they either scrape your skull for an hour, drill a perfect circle by hand, or hammer a chisel into your head like they're building IKEA furniture. Every tap vibrates your teeth, spine, hopes, and dreams. If they hit too hard, brain damage, too soft, well, now you're here all day. Once they finally remove the skull disc, ta-da! Your pulsating brain is now on display. No anesthesia, no sedation, just vibes and trauma. Post-op care, if you can call it that. After the hole is made, evil spirits, gone. Headaches, apparently gone. Infection, about to be your new roommate.
Doctor, where is the evil spirit?
It's flu already.
Yes.
Okay, let's go. It's done.
Doctor, are you forgetting something?
Well, evil spurt is gone. Now what you want now?
I mean, you're gonna gather my head again, right? What if evil spirit comes in again?
Okay.
They slap on some herbs, maybe wine, maybe bone dust, then send you home like, don't worry, you'll heal naturally. You probably won't. Some people even had multiple holes drilled for spiritual boosting, making them the ancient version of Swiss cheese. Trepanation. Because apparently, drilling your head was easier than saying, maybe he's just stressed. 2. Bloodletting. Doctor, I don't feel good. Let's make you feel worse. For nearly 2,000 years, doctors believed sickness came from bad humors. Not bad humor as in dad jokes, though that can hurt too. Their solution? Drain your blood until you either get better or stop being a patient permanently. The ritual. You're burning with fever. You're dizzy. You're weak. The doctor walks in with a knife that looks like it belongs in a horror movie or a jar full of leeches having a pool party. Your arm is tied tight. You're sweating. The doctor is calm, which is actually terrifying. With one slice, blood gushes out. And the doctor watches like he's checking a fine wine. 1692 vintage. Needs more draining. The patient experience. As the blood flows, vision blurs. Cold sweats hit. Whole world tilts. Your soul considers its exit strategy. Doctors saw all this and said, "Excellent, that means it's working." "No, sir. That means you're killing me." Extreme bloodletting. Half a liter drained? Normal. Multiple sessions a day? Also normal. Bleeding children until they faint? Horrifyingly normal. A shocking amount of patients died. Doctors blamed the disease, but the real cause was removing the stuff that keeps people alive. The leech version. Nature's little vampires. If knives weren't used, leeches were deployed like tiny biological Roombas. Cold, slimy, hungry Roombas. They latch on, numb the skin, and start drinking like they haven't eaten since the Jurassic period. Doctors used dozens, and even when removed, the wounds kept bleeding for hours. So, in summary, bloodletting cured nothing, except overpopulation. 3. Hot iron cauterization. The human barbecue method. Before stitches, antiseptics, or pain relief existed, doctors had one solution for bleeding. Set the patient to medium rare. Cauterization wasn't just painful, it was a full-on cooking show. Why fire worked. The glowing red iron burned through the flesh, sealing vessels shut. It also destroyed nerves, roasted muscle, and made the whole room smell like a medieval BBQ.
It smells delicious, doctor.
Doctors called this medicine. Patients called it my worst day ever. The procedure. You're bleeding out. You're screaming. 3 guys are holding you down like you're trying to escape from family dinner. The surgeon pulls a glowing iron from the fire. It hisses. You panic. Everyone else pretends this is normal. Then the iron touches you. Your soul leaves your body temporarily. Your flesh sizzles like breakfast bacon. Everyone smells it. Nobody is okay. Amputation upgrade. The deluxe pain package. If your limb was amputated, the iron was used on the stump. Saw first. Fire second. Therapy third. But therapy didn't exist yet. People remembered the burn more than the amputation. Let that sink in. 4. Lithotomy. The original scream therapy. Bladder stones hurt. But you know what hurts more? Surgery to remove them in the 1700s. Without anesthesia, without mercy, without anything remotely resembling OSHA guidelines. The diagnosis: just close your eyes and pray. Doctors inserted a metal rod into the urethra to feel for stones. If the patient screamed, yep, definitely a stone. If the doctor heard scraping, congratulations, you win the worst lottery ever. The position, aka maximum humiliation mode. Tied arms, tied legs. Knees forced apart. No dignity in sight. The doctor then cut between the anus and the genitals, a place no knife should ever go. Ever. The search, hide and seek, but inside you. The surgeon dug inside the wound with his fingers, blindly searching for the stone. Patients felt every movement, every poke, every push, every regret. The extraction. Once the stone was found, forceps were used to pull it out. If it didn't fit, they made the hole bigger. You could hear the tearing. You could hear the screaming. You could probably hear this operation from the next town. Many patients did not survive. Those who did deserved medals. 5. Lobotomy. The surgery that turned the brain into room temperature. Soup. By the early 20th century, doctors were looking at the human brain the same way a confused plumber looks at a leaking pipe. I have no idea what's wrong, so let's hit it. Mental illness was misunderstood, feared, and wildly stigmatized. Asylums were overflowing, families were desperate, and medical science was basically running on vibes and confidence. Then came the lobotomy, a miracle cure that promised to fix everything from schizophrenia to mild annoyance. And when I say everything, I mean everything. What they used lobotomy for, basically any emotion they didn't like. Doctors recommended lobotomies for schizophrenia, severe depression, bipolar disorder, anxiety and panic attacks, PTSD, addiction, violent or agitated behavior, obsessive thoughts, kids who acted out, men who couldn't be controlled, wives who talked back. Yes, that was genuinely used. If someone's emotions made society uncomfortable, the solution was turn the brain off and on again. Unfortunately, they forgot the on part. The start of the surgery, the moment your brain realized it was in danger. The patient was brought into a room that did not look like an operating room. It looked more like a basement where the doctor kept things he didn't want anyone to see. There were no modern machines, no anesthesia equipment, and sometimes no restraints. Just 2 assistants holding the patient down like they were about to perform an exorcism. The doctor stood proudly with his favorite tool, a long, thin metal spike, an ice pick called an orbitoclast. He then told the patient the most terrifying medical instruction in history. Hold still. Some begged, some cried, some accepted their fate like Windows XP shutting down. The eye socket invasion. Brain access point unlocked. The doctor gently lifted the patient's eyelid, placed the tip of the ice pick at the top of the eye socket, and then WHAM. He hit it with a hammer. A few taps later, the metal spike blasted through the thin bone behind the eye and slid straight into the brain like a USB drive being plugged in the wrong way. Patients reported flashes of white, pressure behind the eyes, scraping sensations, overwhelming panic, or absolutely nothing, which is somehow worse. And remember, there was no anesthesia. This was raw, unfiltered terror. The DLC pack. The procedure. Stirring the brain like Tuesday lunch. Once the tool was inside the frontal lobe, the doctor didn't do delicate microsurgery. Number. He moved it side to side, then up and down, then twisted it, like he was mixing pancake batter. This severed the neural pathways responsible for emotions, impulse control, decision-making, personality, long-term planning, and basically everything that makes you, you. The whole process took less than 10 minutes, which is impressive, considering it destroyed a lifetime of memories in the process. After finishing the first eye, the doctor simply said, "Time for round 2." Then repeated the whole thing on the other side. No breaks, no rest, just double the trauma. How the surgery ended. The calm before the lifetime of problems. After the ice pick was removed, the doctor casually wiped the blood off like he had just spilled ketchup. There were no real bandages, no recovery protocol, no psychological evaluation, nothing. Patients were wheeled away, often staring blankly, drooling or mumbling. Some shook uncontrollably. Some sat silent and motionless. Some looked peaceful, not because they were cured, but because the part of the brain that felt fear was basically unplugged. Families were told, "Great news, the treatment was a success." Meanwhile, the patient was mentally 3 operating systems behind. Were there any successful cases? Technically, yes, if you define success as no more screaming, no more violent outbursts, no more panic attacks, no more emotions, no more personality, no more ability to disagree with anyone. The problem wasn't that lobotomies didn't calm people. They did. The problem was how they did it. They didn't treat illness. They treated humanity like a glitch that needed deleting. Behavior changes in survivors. The Brain Patch Notes, version 1937. People who survived lobotomies often experienced flat, emotionless personalities, loss of ambition, childlike behavior, memory problems, confusion, inability to care for themselves, slurred speech, erratic behavior, extreme passivity. Some became docile, some became unpredictable, some became dangerously impulsive, and some seemed happy, but only because lobotomies removed the part of the brain that understood sadness, or happiness, or consequences. Patients didn't complain anymore. Not because things were better, but because the brain circuits required to complain were gone. The most terrifying fact. Lobotomies were performed on adults, soldiers, teenagers, women suffering postpartum depression, men with trauma, and children as young as 4 years old. Tens of thousands of people had their brains permanently damaged. Before the world finally realized, this isn't medicine. This is a horror story wearing a lab coat.